The greatest show on earth. That's exactly what it's called. It's Super Bowl weekend, people. As we know, it's the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. A huge matchup. It's a rematch of what happened a couple seasons ago as well. But who will come out on top? And is Patrick Mahomes on course to be the greatest of all time? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sani-That sports guy talking all things sport. And of course, today we're speaking American football, we're speaking NFL because it's a Super Bowl. It is the biggest game of the season when it comes to the NFL. We need to find out who's going to win. Before we get onto that, I want to know, is Patrick Mahomes on course to be the GOAT? As we know, the undisputed GOAT is Tom Brady. He's achieved everything you wanted to in the game. He's obviously achieved the most amount of Super Bowls, for example, which I think is the pinnacle when it comes to assessing legacy. We all know his postseason record. We all know what he'd done in New England with Bill Belichick as well. But the thing is Patrick Mahomes on course to actually usurp him? As we know, Patrick Mahomes is only 28, but he's appearing in his fourth Super Bowl on Sunday. And at the end of just his seventh season in the league, should he win this? He'll have 3 rings. This is Patrick Mahomes' fourth Super Bowl in 5 years. The Kansas City Chiefs have been ripping it up pretty much every single season since he entered the league. There's always this talk about a GOAT debate. Obviously, that sort of thing I think should only happen once the two players have retired. But realistically, right now, Mahomes has a pretty good case. If we look at the 7 seasons that Mahomes has had compared to the 7 seasons that Brady's had when he first started, Mahomes actually has some incredible stats that actually beat Tom Brady. He's got more playoff wins than Brady, 14-12. If you look at the regular season, Mahomes has 2 league MVPs. Brady had 0 in his first 7 seasons. And if you look at the stats between the two as well, Mahomes actually beats Brady in terms of passing yards, touchdowns, and most crucially, wins. In terms of the playoff losses, Mahomes has actually had 3. 2 of which are actually to Brady, 1 in the AFC Championship game and 1 in the Super Bowl. So a lot of people actually see this and think, if Mahomes couldn't even meet Brady at the end of his career, what makes you think that Mahomes could beat him in the prime of his career? Now, of course, everyone has their cup of tea when it comes to quarterback. Obviously, Mahomes is a bit more mobile than Brady, hence why he's got more rushing touchdown, for example. But I think the game, the way it moved anyway, meant that quarterbacks couldn't really be or in the pocket style quarterback that I think Tom Brady was. And you need that more dual threat, that more mobile quarterback, which Mahomes is. Obviously, Brady is one of the most, if not most clutch player of all time when it comes to playoffs. Mahomes has shown that tendency, but when it came to matter in that Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it was Brady that actually came out on top. Now, Mahomes has come out in the press and spoke about how a great side, a dynasty, has 3 Super Bowl wins. Obviously, right now, the Chiefs are on 2. But if they go back-to-back this year, him and Andy Reid will have actually emulated what Brady and Bill Belichick actually done 20 years ago as well, adding to that GOAT debate even more of Mahomes actually doing something that Brady done as well. But like I said at the start of this somewhat segment of this episode, this debate only can happen once their careers are finished. However, if Mahomes does carry on this trajectory, he'll have an extremely good case to say, well, he is the GOAT. But for now, you have to respect Tom Brady, for he is the GOAT. But speaking of GOAT, there was another guy who was once considered the GOAT, and that was Joe Montana. He was once, of course, of the San Francisco 49ers, a team that I actually backed, to be fair. The 49ers were obviously a storied franchise in the 80s and 90s with the likes of Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Steve Young. We've not actually won a Super Bowl since 1995. We lost when Kaepernick was quarterback against the Ravens, and obviously we lost to the same Kansas City Chiefs a couple of years ago as well. We need that Super Bowl. It's been a long time coming. I think this year could be it. The biggest piece of that puzzle to win that is Christian McCaffrey. As we know, he was signed mid-season 2022. He is a phenomenal running back. For me, he's the best running back in the league. His stats go to show that as well. He's a big reason why the 49ers have done so well this season. People are going to look at Purdy, for example, as a quarterback. Obviously, he came into it in December 2022. This is his first full season, and he's dragged us to the Super Bowl. You have to give credit where it's due. But who actually comes out on top? The Chiefs or the 49ers? Let's take a deeper dive. Obviously, the Niners rolled through the regular season. They racked up 12 wins with a point differential of plus 193, which is the 3rd best in the NFL. And we all know about that 17-point second-half deficit against the Lions in the NFC Championship game, which the 49ers did obviously overturn. Now, if you look at the Chiefs, it's not really business as usual for them. They obviously had an 11-6 record, for example, when it came to the regular season. Something that I don't think you'd expect with a Chiefs dynasty, per se. They weren't among the league leaders in points as usual, and instead finished 15th in scoring, but it was the defense that obviously carried the Chiefs. And that's what we need to talk about, because they wound up second in points allowed at 17.3 per game. A lot of people were talking about the Ravens and the MVP elect in terms of Lamar Jackson to eventually hit the Super Bowl, but they actually lost, showing that the Chiefs have that resolve when it comes to the big games and that clutch ability to get it over the line, which is definitely a concern for the 49ers. Here are my biggest conundrums when it comes to the Super Bowl and the biggest reasons how this game will eventually turn out. You've got 49ers cornerback in terms of Travarius Wade. As we know, the 49ers have deployed Ward to cover other teams' top wideout, for example, the Seahawks' DK Metcalf, but they actually prefer to play zone coverage and have been far more successful sticking to those zone principles than playing man-to-man. If you look at the regular season, quarterbacks had a QBR 43.9 against San Francisco's zone coverage, which is the 7th lowest in the NFL. But that number jumped to 59.8 when the Niners played man-to-man coverage. What's more is the fact that Mahomes had a 70.4 QBR with a 21 touchdown and 7 interception rating against man coverage, compared to a 64.8 QBR with 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions against zone. I'm not going to say the Niners won't mix coverages, including man options, but they're unlikely to drastically change their approach. Now, I said it earlier, but this Chiefs team is different from other Reid Mahomes teams that have made the Super Bowl, because as we know, the Chiefs now lead with defense, whereas previously they lean on their offense to get it done. I'm going to go back to the AFC Championship game in which they actually had a lead against the Ravens, but they were content to lean on their defense to hold on, which it did by creating 3 turnovers, 2 in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs were second in the league when it came to sacks during the regular season, and they don't actually have to rely on Chris Jones alone to get them. George Karlaftis, tied with Jones for the team, led in sacks during the regular season with 10.5 and 2.5 in the playoffs. We need to speak about the secondary as well. It's got several versatile players that can allow them to have a variety of coverages. If you look at the cornerback, L'Jarius Sneed, he's pretty much followed the opponent's top wide receiver, and he's usually done a lockdown job, to be honest. He didn't actually allow his first touchdown pass of the season until the divisional round win over the Bills, which means that it does take the load off Mahomes per se, and he's content to play that complementary game as opposed to playing the main event game, meaning that the 49ers do have a game on their hands. The 49ers do have a solid defense of their own. If we look at their linebackers, Fred Warner, D. Greenlow, they'll play a critical role, especially given the Chiefs' offensive tendencies during their postseason run. If you look at Kansas City, for example, they average 127.3 yards rushing in 3 playoff wins. But if Warner and Greenlow can use their ability to quickly key and diagnose versus the run game, playing downhill to fill gaps or pursuing to cut off the ball off the perimeter, then it means that they have the ability to stop that run game. Now, we all know Mahomes is looking for Travis Kelce, but Greenlaw is the player most likely to be in coverage. Of course, you have the safety in terms of Jair Brown as well. He's a key part of the 49 secondary to slow down Mahomes and the Chiefs' offense. Including the playoffs, the 49ers defense has played zone coverage for most of the part, but the Chiefs can create open voids in the coverage for Kelce, who's obviously caught 23 of 27 targets for 262 yards in the playoffs, with 38.2% of those coming after the catch. So when the 49ers do eventually play man coverage, especially on third down, Travis Kelce does have a matchup advantage. But eventually, as always, it comes down to Super Bowls, it comes down to moments. We all know a couple of years ago, it was the Chiefs. And for me, unfortunately, I think it'll be the Chiefs again, because they're a dynasty. And Patrick Mahomes is special. He has the ability to become the GOAT, and this win on Sunday will be another step for him in his pursuit to become the greatest of all time. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Obviously, something a bit different. Again, not football, NFL. I want to hear your thoughts on the Super Bowl. Firstly, I want to hear your thoughts on Mahomes as well. Do you think he has the potential to become the GOAT? And what does this win on Super Bowl Sunday, should he obviously win, mean for his legacy? But as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, please hit that like button, comment, share with your friends and family, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, until next time, peace.